Good evening and welcome to this Shiro Coffee Chat Short. I am Melissa Farmer Hill, a retired Army veteran and the founder of the Shiro Coffee Club, where our mission is to keep the world caffeinated and women veterans celebrated. I am also the host of the Shiro Coffee Chat, which will air at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time right here tomorrow. So if you are around, be sure to check us out. So today, yes, imposter syndrome. Now, how many times have you ever felt like a fraud? I can remember vividly in some of those meetings where I had to do reporting and things like that and give information updates. I remember those some of those meetings when I was in the military where I felt like an absolute fraud, like you didn't belong in the room, or like you were just waiting for someone to just figure out that you're not as capable as you claim to be, or as they think that you are. That's really what imposter syndrome is. It's really a psychological pattern, and it's the fear of being exposed as a fraud. And the crazy part is, even if you have the skills and accomplishment to back it up, there's something on the inside of us that's telling us that we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, all those negative things. We don't deserve success. This feeling is not unique. I mean, like I just told you, I had it when I was in the military. Sometimes sitting up in those meetings, I felt like a complete imposter. When I was awarded the instruct warrant officer instructor of the year, I felt like an imposter because I'm always trying to push myself and I never think it's enough. I even suffer through that even to this day. I have some issues with that. But the thing about it is, you're not alone. They do research on these things. So celebrities, CEOs, students, everybody gets imposter syndrome. They say that at least 70% of people have experienced imposter syndrome at some point in their lives. So, but the question we have to ask ourselves is why? Why do we suffer from imposter syndrome? And it's really all rooted in self doubt. It's rooted in fear, and it happens anytime we internalize some unrealistic expectation of what success should look like, or how we should feel, or how it should be. It happens when we compare ourselves to other people, and it's also, it's really fueled by society. We really live in a world where we constantly see the good sides, the people's highlight reels, where they're talking about their promotions, their awards, their this, their that, their picture perfect lives. But we don't always see people's struggles, people's doubt, people's failures. I can tell you that I know people that will say to me in private that just because they look like that on Facebook doesn't mean, or IG doesn't mean that they're living that life that they are portraying. And really, all of that does it when you look at it, and if we're going to tell the truth, when you're looking at people's highlights in their life, their reels and things like that, it really can make you feel adequate, like, dang, where did I mess up? Right. So don't feel bad if you've ever felt like this, or if you've ever experienced this before. Psychologists say that there are five types of um, imposter syndromes. One's the perfectionist. So the perfectionist, you're going to set these high goals, and then when you don't reach them, you feel like a failure. Not that the experience didn't meet your expectations, but you literally internalize that and you focus on the flaws. So if you're that type of person, you that's a part of imposter syndrome. The next one is the expert. Oh, yeah. You feel like you need to know everything before you can even get started. You're never satisfied with the level of achievement that you have. You're always seeking more knowledge, more certifications, more training. Give me more, 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 because you are in fact the expert, and that is imposter syndrome. Now, you can also be the soloist where you believe that if I ask for help, man, I'll look weak. You know what? I gotta prove something to the world. I gotta prove that I can do it. You feel like you must accomplish everything on your own in order to prove that you're worthy of what you accomplished. It's crazy, but we all at some point in our lives have felt like this or feel like this. And then there's a natural genius, and the natural genius, you really think you should be able to master everything quickly, right? And then when you struggle, you internalize that experience. You feel like a fraud. And then there's the superhero. How many of us are superheroes? You push yourself and push yourself to work harder and longer just to prove you're capable. You're there in the morning. You're the last person, your first person to come in, the last person to leave, because you are the super hero, and you always do it at your very own expense. It's always happening at your expense, being that superhero. But recognizing what types of imposter syndrome that you might have is really a good step in overcoming it. And I think the second thing is just being aware. Learn to recognize those signs when imposter syndrome is kicking in. And then there's some things you got to do. You got to shift your perspective, right? You can't be the perfectionist. You can't be the superhero. You can't be the natural genius. You can't be all of those things. So just really learning to recognize when those signs kick in, shifting your perspective, and then you got to really run your own race. You got to stop comparing yourself to others. And I think if you just practice some of all of that, and celebrate your wins. Now, have you heard celebrate your wins before? Because I just talked about celebrating your wins when I talked about the it was the negative self-talk short that I did. And what did you have to do? What did I tell you to do? Pause, disrupt. You got to remember what you've already accomplished. That's celebrating your wins, and then affirm your affirmations, the opposite of what you were thinking of. I mean, when you think about all of those things, life is really and truly a mind game. And the thing about it is, like my drill sergeant used to say, if you don't mind, then it doesn't effing matter. But I say, but if you mind, then you've got to do what matters. The next time you feel like an imposter, just remind yourself you're not alone and you can overcome it. It's almost a natural experience built out of your self-doubt and your fear. All right. So that's it. This is day 5 of 60. We're moving right along. We're moving right along. And that's all I wanted to discuss. And as always, keep your heart full and your coffee strong. I'll see you tomorrow.